This reading is channeled by Aaron through Barbara Brodsky, and it's from a book entitled The 47 Stories of Jesus That Have Probably Never Been Heard. Is that correct? Okay. So this is Aaron speaking. At the time of the birth of Jesus, I was a young boy, 5 years old. I was a shepherd near the town of Bethlehem, dwelling in the hills with my father and older brother. I was old enough to accompany them for one of my first late evenings outdoors. It was a very peaceful scene that night. I sat wrapped in a blanket by the fire. My father and the other men told stories. Later, the night grew very still, and in the near distance, there was a very brilliant star. We all saw it. Below us in the valley, some distance away, was Bethlehem. Excuse me. Never had I seen a star like that before, nor I would assume had the elders, because they all grew quiet. As it grew brighter, some felt afraid, but most felt a deep sense of peace and wonder. You have seen how a moon shines on a snowy place, the way everything seems lit up. That star did the same thing. The whole scene seemed lit in the distance. There was such a sense of deep peace, such a brilliance to the light, and music seemed to fill the air, not heard with our ears, but with our hearts. Through all the lives I have lived, including the time spent in between lifetimes, it has been enough for me just to remember the love and the wonder of that moment. It seemed that a doorway between heaven and earth had briefly opened, and that some of heaven was pouring through to the earth. Sorry. We were drawn as if by a magnet to descend the hills and approach the town. My father was hesitant to go too far from our sheep, so we did not go all the way, but stood on a hill perhaps a mile away. It was a night unlike any I have ever known, before or since. The air was filled with angelic presences, which in itself is not unusual. The air is often filled with loving spirits. What was unusual was the strength of this being who was coming to earth. Even those who would have been skeptical of the existence of such a being could sense the strength of the energy that was present and the love radiating. And so many were in awe of this being, having some sense that this was someone special. My strongest memory is one of deep peace and a profound joy that something had happened far beyond the understanding of the young boy that I was, something that would profoundly change the world. Many went all the way to town. Others of us stayed closer to our flocks on the hillside. But no matter where you were, the light permeated everything. I cannot say it came just from that star. It seemed almost as if the earth itself glowed. We were in awe. Many of the adults began to pray. We sat there for many hours. Some of those who had gone all the way to town began to return. I was dozing by this time, but I still heard the faint words of the elders near me in the still of the early morning hours. A child is born. They call him the Prince of Peace. They say that his teachings will change the world. And then I remembered that my father's strong arms lifted me up and carried me back up the hill to our fire. I slept with a sense of joy and peace as I had never known before, and rarely since. A sense that somehow much had been wrong with the world, somehow much that had been wrong with the world was going to be righted. That new hope was offered to the world. Although they did not see each other very often, my father, Joseph, and Mary were friends and brothers in the spiritual community. The next day, I had the opportunity to walk with my father to see the baby Jesus. We brought him an orphan lamb as a gift. This visit was a great blessing to me. I was given the opportunity to hold the blessed infant, and there was such deep joy in his presence. I could feel from him a sense of love and profound peace. He did not cry in the way many newborns cry. I'm sure that when he was hungry or uncomfortable, he gave voice to his needs. But mostly, he simply radiated peace. And he met my eyes with a deep, loving focus. And then you know his history. His family took him away for reasons of safety, and I did not see him again for many years.